What's going on, y'all? Gamersgoon here today with your NBA mock draft. It is Friday, June 21st, and the NBA draft begins next Wednesday. For the first time, it will be tonight, Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be an interesting draft, but we're going to talk about it here today. We're going to mock it out. I think there's going to be some interesting moves that I'm going to predict because I do think this is going to be a unique draft, and guys that you think might have a second round grade, I think could very well have a first round grade for some teams. This is might be I might do another video on Tuesday night right before the draft, but this video we're going to talk trades, we're going to do all of that, and we're going to really predict what could shape up to happen in this NBA draft. Now, for me, it's pretty much been the same with the Hawks since day one. I know Clint Capella, there's been some talk about him being traded. I think my Chicago Bulls at one point were talking about getting him. Don't want him. I know I am wearing the Blazers shirt, by the way. I do know that. But my Chicago Bulls, Clint Capella, I know we've been potentially looking at him. Don't think that's going to happen after the move we made the other day. Alexander Sarr is the tempting one here. I know Zachary Ricochet has kind of had some late momentum, and he kind of feels like he might be that first overall pick. But to me, looking at this team, Sarr makes more sense. Ricochet, I know he can play off ball. I know he's going to play within the system. I know all that. But Sarr, to me, Onyeka Okongwu, I like, but he's not a star center. Alex Sarr has the upside defensively and offensively to be that. He offers you a big man option. You move on from Clint Capella. I'm not worried about Bruno being much. I think you have a lot of forward depth. I like Jalen Johnson. I like Sadiq Bey. I like DeAndre Hunter. I like AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin, we don't even know what he's going to be doing next year. Feels like he kind of just fell out of the rotation. Bogdan Bogdanovic can play, obviously. Buffkin drafted him last year. DeJounte, Trey. They have the pieces. To me, it kind of just feels like they're missing a big man that can really impact the game. I know what teams would fall in love with when it comes to Ricochet, but to me, Alexander Sarr just makes more sense for a team with Trae Young, for a team with DeJounte Murray. The pick and roll with Trae Young could go insane with Alexander Sarr, whereas Zachary Ricochet, he's more so going to play off ball, and he's not going to be that interior option like Alexander Sarr could be. So we're going to go with Alexander Sarr here at the number one pick. Then this is going to be my first kind of curveball of the whole thing. The Wizards, I know people will be like, well, it's going to be Ricochet or it's going to be Alexander Sarr for the Wizards. I think Ricochet is really good. Don't get me wrong. This is not me saying Ricochet is not that guy. This is a team, right, though, that has Denny Avdia and Bilal Coulibaly, who I think are both really good forwards. Corey Kispert, also a player that has his moments of being really good. Johnny Davis did not work out. Are you going to try to revitalize his career? Jordan Poole, the experiment of him being that point guard did not work. Your point guard depth, really not all that great. Jared Butler's an okay player. Tyus Jones is an okay player. But I'm not in love with anybody. If Alexander Sarr is there, I'm taking him because that center situation outside of Tristan Vukovic is questionable. I know a lot of Wizards fans like Vukovic, but is he the starter? I don't know. So maybe Donovan Clingan does come into play, but to me, Jordan Poole cannot be starting this team as the point guard next season. He can't be. They've got to figure out somebody that can come in and run the show, and that could be a guy like Reed Shepard, who he can have his moments of having big scoring outputs, but I think he is more of the guy that can transition into being a true point guard. I know he's listed as a shooting guard, but I think he has the ability to transition into that. He's not going to take nearly as many shots as Jordan Poole. He can slow down the game a little bit and give the Wizards another chance there to kind of have a different look. Because obviously, Jordan Poole's going to come in and start shooting, but Reed Shepard can play more within the offense. He can get good looks for people. He can calm it down. It's tempting to go like a Donovan Clingan. It's tempting to go a Ricochet, but who's getting them the ball? I think your best bet is to maybe try to develop Reed Shepard into being a point guard for them. So the Wizards making the first a little bit of a shock. I know he's still probably going top 5, but he's going to go before Ricochet, which might shock some of you. Next, I know it says center's a need for this team. The Rockets. Şengün is amazing. Power forward, not a need. Jabari Tari, I like. Small forward, not really too big of a need. Amon, Cam. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because I think this team is really close to being there. And I know there's a lot of teams that maybe want to move up for a Clingan or maybe want to move up for a Ricochet or maybe Bazelis. And I haven't seen this specific one mocked out because I do know that some of the mocks have them trading up and going for Clingan. I'm actually going to do something rather different, I think. And that is going to be with the Portland Trailblazers. Um, the Portland Trailblazers. Now, you look. We'll just send this deal here. We'll send this deal. Put it through. Can I put it through? And then they get that. Boom. To move up to the 14th. Do they give up the 14th? No. Because they're also going to be giving up. We'll give up the 34th pick, and they're also going to be obviously giving up a player here in this situation. And obviously, we kind of saw that who's sitting there for the Rockets. Maybe Anthony Simons is a guy that they throw in there. Maybe Malcolm Brogdon is a guy to throw in there. I mean, obviously they're going to be looking at life after Fred VanVleet. Anthony Simons could be that guy. Malcolm Brogdon could provide a backup role for him. But I really do think that a team like the Blazers has kind of the young guys to, or not, well, I mean, Simons is a young guy that they could throw at him. They might even be able to throw Jeremy Grant at him. And they might want to jump in on that and run Jabari at the 3. But we're going to have the Blazers trade up. We're not going to work out the specific details, but the Blazers are trading up, and they are getting an upgrade here at small forward. So their starting lineup next year will be Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons. We're going to say, for the sake of this exercise, they're getting traded. Then this is going to be Ricochet. We'll still have Jeremy Grant here just for this, and then Ayton. But you get a guy that can play off ball, play off Scoot, play off Shaedon, Ricochet here at 3 to the Portland Trailblazers. So that's what we're going to have them do here. Then we get to the Spurs. The Spurs, this is a tricky one here because there's a lot of guys here that I think the Spurs could really fall in love with. Point guard is a thing of concern here if you are the Spurs. Do you go Stephon Castle? Potentially. Rob Dillingham? Potentially. Do you go for a guy that could maybe add something to Victor Wembanyama and getting him the ball? I don't necessarily think Stephon Castle is that. 3 assists last year. I think Stephon Castle will be a very good two-way player in the NBA. But do I think he's that kind of point guard to work with Victor? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. But I am kind of intrigued with an idea here that I heard floated around with Donovan Clingan. You put Donovan Clingan here, you're moving Victor to the power forward, and that's going to be a nasty, nasty defense. I talked myself into it. Sure, why not? Why not? We're going to go Donovan Clingan. So the first 4 has created some confusion. A lot of people probably not necessarily predicting the exact same 4 as I just did, but that's what we're having happen. Next, we have the Pistons are now up. And the Pistons, a lot of guard depth here. You look at Cade Cunningham, Marcus Sasser, both guys that are really good. Malachi Flynn had a big game earlier this season. Quentin Grimes, Jaden Ivey. I'm not really looking to get guards here. Ozar Thompson should be your starting small forward next year. Maybe you're looking at an upgrade at the power forward position, backup small forward position. I wouldn't really touch too much about the center position. But backup small forward, Dalton Knecht could be a guy here at 5, maybe a little too high. Matas Bazelis could be a guy here, and I think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be him here for me. There's some upside there with what he can do on the basketball court. If he is as good as what he was in high school, he will be a very good player. Did not have the greatest of years last year at the G League Ignite. When we get to the Hornets, they are another team that's really confusing. LaMelo Ball, I mean, they got some okay guards. Not anybody I'm super excited about. Maybe an upgrade at that shooting guard position. Maybe you're looking at, I mean, obviously Brandon Miller's going to run you starting small forwards or Miles Bridges. Maybe you're looking at maybe some forward help here. But to me, you guys got to probably get some consistency. A guy that can score, a guy that can do what you need him to do, and be reliable. And Dalton Connect is that to me. So I'm going to go Dalton Connect here to the Hornets there at 6. Then we have the Rockets, who obviously they did their trade. And this is going to work out perfectly for the Rockets, actually. Because, yes, they missed out on Ricochet because I do think they were ultimately probably going to look at Reed Shepard. He wasn't there, but Stephon Castle is there. He's going to come in, learn behind Fred VanVleet offensively, provide immediate defensive help there, and Stephon Castle will be coming off the bench there for them. The Spurs are now up. The Spurs went Donovan Clingan, and this is probably where we're going to just find a point guard for them. And to me, Devin Carter is very interesting. Devin Carter is an older of the players, but I don't necessarily think Devin Carter is going to take away at the next level from somebody like Victor Wembanyama. And he is going to be able to learn and develop and kind of play that pop style. So I'm going to go with Devin Carter. I think he's a little bit more of a fit there than maybe Rob Dillingham would be. And then Nikola Topic also coming off of injury, so maybe that pushes him down just a little bit further. The Grizzlies are now up. Some forward help would be needed here. Maybe a backup center option. Center, Zach Edey sitting there. Probably a little bit too early to hear his name called. Power forward is an option. Saloon could be that guy. But with Cody Williams being on the board, Cody Williams is listed as a shooting guard apparently, but with Cody Williams being on the board, very toolsy player, high upside, going to need some development. You can slide him in at that small forward position and really let him just develop, because I do think obviously there's a lot of guards here. I do think Gigi Jackson can play, Brandon Clark can play, Jake LaRavia, Santi Aldama can play, and some of these guys can also fit in over there to that 3. You're not necessarily needing right away for Cody Williams to come in and be an immediate impact kind of guy, but he can take a year or two to get it under his system and really develop and become that two-way player at the next level. So Cody Williams here to the Grizzlies. For me, the Jazz are now up, and the Jazz are another interesting team here because I think the Jazz could probably look at maybe a point guard. I view Keontae George more as a shooting guard, to be honest with you. You might be looking at a replacement of a Jordan Clarkson, Rob Dillingham. You could look at some forward depth here because Taylor Hendricks, John Collins, Lowry Markkanen all should be power forwards. They're going to play Lowry at the 3. So maybe there is some forward depth there that could be utilized. Center, not really feeling anybody there for him. Forwards, Ron Holland sitting there. Interesting player. G League Ignite. Let's go with Ron Holland, a player that I think the Bulls could be in on. But ultimately, they don't get the chance to pick him. Now, this one's interesting with the Chicago Bulls because the Chicago Bulls no longer have Alex Caruso. They might no longer have Lonzo Ball because they have Josh Giddey. Now, there's going to be a quick problem in Chicago. Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu are probably your only realistically good, decent three-point shooter. Ayo's a decent three-point shooter. Obviously, Kobe's good. Javon Carter barely played. Then you look at this team. Where's the three-pointers coming from? You want to trade Levine. DeMar might be coming back, but he doesn't shoot threes. Lonzo, he might not even be back. Vooch shoots threes, but he doesn't make them. You got to find somebody at that forward position that can hit down a 3. And I don't know if there's a guy out here that can consistently do that. And this is where things could become interesting and could really become a problem for a team like the Bulls. And I'm a Bulls fan. I am a Bulls fan. And I would love to say, oh, Terrence Shannon Jr. makes a lot of sense. Might be a little bit too old. If you are hitting that reset button, I would love to sit there and tell you that we could use one of these guards that are there that I like. But unfortunately, I don't think the Bulls need more guards. That's a problem that we already have. Saloon, I would love to sit there and say, well, with Patrick Williams being gone, we could go him. But realistically, we need a guy that can shoot the ball. And a guy that can shoot the ball is Johnny Furphy. Very scary to pick a guy like Johnny Furphy who really, you look at it, he's not great, but he's a shooter that can do play off ball. He can do that, but is he a guy that you want to spend a lottery pick on? Is he that kind of guy, or is he going to be another Doug McDermott situation? And that's really scary for my Chicago Bulls because I would really love to take Terrence Shannon here. I would really love to take Rob Dillingham, but I don't really want to take Rob Dillingham because we have all these guards. I'd really love to take Saloon, but I don't see it being an option really. We need a three-point shooter, and that guy is going to be Johnny Furphy here. So this is going to be another one that I think could go earlier than people expect. There was talk about him returning to college. Ultimately winds up in the lottery. Thunder. They obviously added Alex Caruso. This is a team that maybe could be moving this pick, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Obviously, Alex Caruso being there, you're adding him in there. Then you're maybe looking at some forward depth. You're looking at a guy that could come in and be impactful right away. And there's a couple of those guys in this class. Tristan De Silva being one. I think Ryan Dunn could come in and be impactful. Saloon could be there. Kyle Filipowski could be a guy. And these shooting guards Terrence Shannon could be a guy. But ultimately, I do think Tristan De Silva is going to be the one out of all of them to hear his name called first. Makes sense. Put him in there. Not necessarily needing to start right away. Even though he is capable of it, he's going to be coming in experienced, and you're not getting this guy to be turned into some superstar. You're getting him to turn into a quality role player alongside the guys you already have because you are set up to be a very good team down the road. The 13th pick here, and this really pains me because Rob Dillingham's still there, and I really like Rob Dillingham. I think he's going to be a good scorer at the next level, but they just re-signed Malik Monk. They have Kevin Huerter. They played Keon Ellis. They have Davion Mitchell. They have De'Aaron Fox. They're not going guard. I could see them going to center. It's a bonus. They're going to probably try to move on from Harrison Barnes. I could see them going for another guy that can space the court. Obviously, they have Sabonis, so you're going to probably want a guy that can space out a little bit. And a guy like Kello Ware makes a lot of sense. I think he could go lottery, and he is going to go here for me. Then we have the Blazers, who they took Ricochet last time around. There was talk about them trading up and getting Clingan. That talk really never amounted to much, but here I think they do try to go a big man, and they are going to be the ones to take Saloon here, and they're going to try to move Jeremy Grant on, not necessarily trade him, but try to give Jeremy Grant a little nudge out the door, and allow him not to, but he obviously will start next season, but they'll have a reassurance policy once Jeremy Grant is going on the way to some other team. The Heat, I feel like the Heat are very interesting because I feel like a lot of people think they could go Jared McCain. Point guard is a problem for me if you're looking at the Heat. If I'm being honest with you, I think the Heat have a lot of problems. Some decent forwards there for the Heat. Feels like they always got a guy that can become something. Rob Dillingham being there, is that redundant with Tyler Hero? Rob Dillingham being there is just too good a value. I think Jared McCain would have been my guy here, but Rob Dillingham being there, I just can't pass him up. Especially if you're a team like the Heat that are going to need more depth at the guard position. The 76ers, obviously, point guard and center, the only two things I think are really secure. Tobias Harris, a big deal that he's on. Yeah, $45 million a year for Tobias Harris is ridiculous. Forward depth is something I would recommend. Maybe a shooting guard to maybe move Buddy Hield out of that way. Jared McCain fits that to a T. Can he play shooting guard for them? Maybe a little bit too short. Um, Maybe a guy like Kyle Filipowski to play that four, and then move Tobias Harris if you can, or maybe let him just play the three. But I think I'm going to do Filipowski here. I think I'm going to do Filipowski here to stretch the floor alongside Joel Embiid, and add another almost 7-footer there in Kyle Filipowski. The Lakers are now up. The Lakers, obviously, look at this team. It's just a cluster of people. AD, I'm going to move AD back to the power forward out of this. He ain't going to play center for me. And that means that I can really do what I want to do here. And the center is going to be Zach Edey. Zach Edey will be drafted in the first round. I know some people aren't high on that Zach Edey's game because it is somewhat one-dimensional. But Zach Edey is a very good player, and I think he will wind up on the Lakers here. Magic, another very interesting team to trade or to pick for. This is a team I could see trading. I could see trading. But in order for a trade, there's got to be somebody you're trading up for. Is there a team that could use a point guard like a Nikola Topic? Is there a team that maybe could use a Jared McCain? Let me look around at some of these teams. Okay. I do like this. The Suns. They're going to trade up just a few spots. Just a few spots. And maybe they toss in that pick just for the sake of this. They're going to trade up a few spots, and they're going to bring in Nikola Topic, who I don't think really is going to be all that needy offensively, and he's going to let Bradley Beal, he's going to let Devin Booker, he's going to let Kevin Durant work, and he's going to be able to take in that point guard role and move Devin Booker back to that shooting guard position. So we're going to go Nikola Topic there for the Suns. I was very hesitant on that because I do really think Tyler Kolek is a good fit, but maybe if a guy like Nikola Topic falls, the Suns would be interested. The Raptors are now up. The Raptors, man, this is tough for me because I do think they are another team that needs a point guard. I'm not sold on Emmanuel Quickley as a point guard. I'm really not. They have a lot of guard depth at the shooting guard position. Scotty can play power forward, small forward, whatever. RJ shooting guard, small forward. Isaiah Collier being there is a tough one. Jared McCain being there is tough. Jared McCain to me feels a little bit redundant of what they already have. Isaiah Collier, once a top 5 player in his class, we're going to send him over here to the Raptors. They're drafting a center. They should draft a center. They looked miserable without Jared Allen in the playoffs. They need a backup center. Yves Missi, congratulations. Cavaliers, there you go. Interesting, Brandon Ingram did not get traded for the Pelicans, and they're still sitting here now. And I think maybe they're looking for a CJ McCollum replacement at the point guard position. Jordan Hawkins, obviously an okay player there, didn't get to play nearly as much as I would have hoped last year. Trey Murphy, Brandon Ingram obviously didn't play in some of the crucial moments in the playoffs. Herb Jones. This team probably is going guard, if I were to guess. And it's just a matter of which one. Jared McCain being there, it's tough to say no. I'm going to go Jared McCain. Becomes your next CJ McCollum there out of Duke. Jared McCain. Who's this? The Magic. The Magic are now up once again. Backup center, maybe, as an option. Power forward's fine. Small forward's fine. Shooting guard, maybe a backup shooting guard. If you're the Magic, you were a solid team this year. You might want to try to maybe go on the upside market and a guy, or not upside market, but the impact market, and I'm going to go Terrence Shannon, somebody that could play right away for him and get the job done. Obviously, he was one of the better players in the country last year, so you can go out and get him for the Magic. The Bucks are now up, and the Bucks, I think really you're looking at the Bucks. I understand there's a lot of guards. Not sold on Ty Ty. Not sold on Ryan Rollins. Patrick Beverly is up there in age. Jeff Teague up there in age. Goran Dragic up there in age. Damian Lillard obviously was good last year, but not as good as you'd hope. There's a lot of guards. Basically what I'm looking at here is they need guards and small forwards. It is Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Middleton. Needs a lot of depth, a lot of guys that can play, potentially, and sit behind Damian Lillard. And Bug Carrington is that guy for me. Bug Carrington has time to wait behind Damian Lillard for a year or two and really come into his own. Carlton Carrington. There we have it. The Knicks are now on the clock. And this team, the Knicks, need to look for guys that can play right away. Because you looked at that playoff team, and it was them just running them into the ground. That's all it was. That's all it was. I'm not sure if Isaiah Hartenstein's returning, to be honest with you. But yeah, it doesn't matter because I am drafting a center with one of their picks. Power forward, but he is a center in my book, Deron Holmes. He's going to be one of our 2 picks. Whether it's 24 or 25 doesn't really matter. And then the other guy, I think they need to get another guy who can really score. Terrence Shannon would have been a great pickup for them. But we know Dante can score. We know Josh Hart can score. We know OG can score. But we need a guy that really lets those guys not break down, basically. I mean, we saw Josh Hart, what he was doing offensively and defense. He was running on just pure will. I mean, it was ridiculous. You need to let them do what they're used to doing, coming in and filling their roles, rather than having to pick up from when Jalen Brunson's in foul trouble, when Jalen Brunson is hurt. And you need to find a scorer there, or a guy that can let them be what they are. And is there that guy in this class? There is a guy in this class that can be that. You know exactly what he's going to be. Scored a lot at Kansas last year, but maybe not an 18-point per game scorer in the NBA, but he probably could be about a 10 or 11-point scorer in the NBA and offer some relief there and get into a lineup real early in his NBA career. So that is what we're going to do with Kevin McCullough. The Wizards, we took Reed Shepard last time around, and this is probably where we're just going to take a little bit of a gamble here. Bobby Clinton, I don't think Bobby Clinton is going to be a first or this high of a first round pick. You know what? I'm going to go Tyler Smith here. He will be able to play the 4 at the NBA level, but we'll see what he ends up doing. The Wizards an interesting team to pick for because they're not very good. The Timberwolves are up, and without the Suns taking them, this makes a lot of sense to me. Mike Conley, obviously, is getting up there in age. Monte Morris was okay for him last year. They really needed some scoring. They needed leadership. They needed people to step up and make big shots. And I'm not necessarily saying that Tyler Kolek is an elite scorer or anything like that, but he can step up and make big shots. Very similar to what Mike Conley was able to do for them last year. Settle the game down, hit a 3 in a big moment. That's what Tyler Kolek can do. And Tyler Kolek there is going to be the point guard for the Timberwolves. The Nuggets now, they're up. And I would be looking, if I'm the Nuggets, at a guy that's just going to be able to come in, compete right away as a starter. Or not necessarily as a starter, but can get into that rotation. Michael Porter Jr. did not perform well in the playoffs. So I would maybe look at a guy that could fill in for him if he's not doing that. And Baylor Shireman, 4-year guy at Creighton, fits that to a T. Comes in, you know exactly what you're getting out of Baylor Shireman. The Jazz are now up again. Ron Holland was their last selection to play that small forward spot. And we kind of talked about Rob Dillingham being there, filling in that Jordan Clarkson role. And I was okay passing up on it because Jacoby Walter is going to fall. I think Jacoby Walter, unfortunately for him, he's going to fall a little bit. And he's the guy here that I think could be um, that bench scorer that they're looking for to replace Jordan Clarkson. So we're gonna have Jordan or Jacoby Walter be that guy here at 29, and then the Celtics. So I have Kayshawn George falling out of the first round. Ryan Dunn, I think I'm gonna have fall out of the first round. Um, but yeah, a lot of these guys could hear their names called in the first round, but they're just not going to, in my opinion. But the Celtics, I think big man is probably likely Bobby Clingan an option. Is he the guy? I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't go a guy like PJ Hall. I wouldn't be shocked. But we are going to go a little bit consensus, and we're going to go Bobby Clinton there. So Bobby Clinton will be playing the four behind Kristaps Porzingis next year at Boston. So there we have it. We're wrapped up here. So we have some interesting moves. Topic and Ricochet obviously being some of those moves that I was talking about. Um, Johnny Furphy maybe going a little bit higher than you expect. Devin Carter going a little bit higher than you expect maybe. Um, who else do I got going a little bit higher? Kevin McClure, Deron Holmes going a little bit higher than you expect. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting draft. I think you're going to be shocked at what does happen in this draft. I do think that it's going to surprise some people. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys maybe Tuesday if I make another video. If not, I'll see you after the first round when we do a quick little recap of what happened. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.